All right, I move to return from exec session.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes, if everyone would join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. We have a couple of proclamations tonight. We'll start with Trustee Stone.
Andrew? I move to adopt a resolution, I guess it's a proclamation, not an adoption.
It's a proclamation resolution.
Okay, a proclamation resolution.
Let's start over. And cut.
Ordinance?
Take two.
Okay. A proclamation resolution designating September 2019 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Anderson Township.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. Dee, would you like to say anything about the group that meets here in Anderson Township?
Yes, actually, we do have a group here, the Anderson Township Mental Wellness Collaborative. We've been meeting since it's almost a year now, last October, I think. We meet about every other month. Our next meeting actually is going to be on October 2nd, or October 30th, here at the Anderson Center, and it's a collaboration of the Linder Center of Hope, Mercy Health, Forest Hills Foundation for Education, the Forest Hills School District, Anderson Park District, the Anderson Chamber, 1 in 5, and Beach Acres, the YMCA, just a lot of different, I think that's about it. A lot of different groups are being represented. We have a speaker series that we've been doing. And the next one in our speaker series will be November 12th here at the Anderson Center at 6:30 p.m. And the topic for that will be QPR, which is question, persuade, and refer. And it's when someone's in crisis, how to talk to them and ask the right questions so you can hopefully prevent them from harming themselves. So that's some of the stuff we've been working on. It's exciting work, and it just keeps getting more people involved. And we just want to be leaders as a township in stopping the stigma with regard to mental health, and just keeping our citizens and our students safe. So that's what it's about. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Trustee Pappas.
I don't know why I got stuck with this one, but I'd like to adopt the proclamation resolution designating September 2019 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in Anderson Township.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. Is there anything you would like to say, Andrew?
It's just, actually, it's very important to get checked.
Yep.
So don't forget to get
Josh
checked.
ran in the race.
Actually,
there was a
Belterra
race.
here in Anderson
See
just
you
held their second annual 5K race, and this was the beneficiary of that race. So
And it's actually fun. You get to run on the track at Belterra. It's actually a good race.
it was.
Bill ran too. Yeah.
Thank you. Moving on to public forum, anyone that would like to address this board may do so at this time. Okay.
Wait a little bit longer? No?
I'm sure there's someone who can say something to you. All right, moving on to trustee comments. Andrew Pappas.
I'm up first. Nothing. Really just would like everybody, I think we've been back to school for a while now, but I have seen some chatter about people passing school buses, and I wouldn't mind putting some information out there about people flying past school buses or stopping when they don't have to stop and creating traffic hazards. I know I put out some stuff, and I know we put out some stuff as far as lane designations, when you have to stop, when you don't have to stop. But it seems like the public's getting, I don't know, just busy texting and driving or whatever and not paying attention. And it's creating a dangerous situation. So I just want everybody to keep their wits about them and make sure you stop for those buses, because I think the state is increasing the penalty, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just too dangerous of a situation. And when you don't have to stop, don't stop. Like Beachmont Avenue, you don't have to stop on the other side of Beachmont, because you're going to get grilled by somebody if you do. So just something you should be aware of. Dee?
Thank you. No, I don't really have any comments. Nothing to add, but that's a good comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got a couple of recognitions that I'd like to relay to the audience and those out there. They're both for public service. I'll start with actually Angie Stocker. Angie has been serving on our Anderson Park District Board for a number of years, I think almost 10. And she has moved out of the township, so can no longer serve on that board, but we certainly wanted to recognize her. The Park District is obviously a phenomenal part of our township, and so those positions as commissioners are well regarded, and we certainly want to thank her for her time. So it's with deep appreciation that we'd like to recognize Angie Stocker for her almost 10 years of service to the Anderson Park District Board of Commissioners. Her dedication greatly contributed to the Park District's ongoing commitment to deliver high-quality services to our community. We thank her and we wish her well.
True.
Thank you.
And then we also wanted to recognize Commissioner Todd Portune. I think most of you probably have heard that Commissioner Portune announced that he will not be seeking re-election next year, and I don't think any of us know if he actually will finish his term or not. But in light of that announcement, we, all of us on this board, and thanks to Vicki and Steve for bringing up the idea, thought it was appropriate to recognize Todd, because this township has worked with him specifically on a number of different fronts, and thought that this was very appropriate. So if you would bear with me for a minute, I'd like to read this resolution. Whereas Todd Portune has faithfully served the residents of Hamilton County and Anderson Township as their elected county commissioner since November 2nd, 2000, and whereas during his tenure, Commissioner Portune kept the interests of those residents at the forefront of his decision-making process. And whereas through Commissioner Portune's leadership roles with the Hamilton County Transportation Improvement District and on the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Regional Council of Governments, transportation infrastructure throughout the region has been enhanced, improving vehicular and pedestrian safety and furthering economic development. And whereas during his tenure, Commissioner Portune was and is a strong supporter of the township form of government and often collaborated with Anderson Township trustees and staff on key planning efforts and policy decisions, ranging from the Eastern Corridor and the Ancor area development to community development block grant funding to innovate and work towards the betterment of our community. And whereas Commissioner Portune's actions and efforts have and will continue to leave a lasting positive impact on the quality of life for residents and businesses in Anderson Township, and whereas Commissioner Portune continues to be an inspiration, friend, and mentor to many, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Township Trustees of Anderson Township, County of Hamilton, State of Ohio, that this board hereby honors and thanks Todd B. Portune for his exemplary career and specifically his dedication to public service to Hamilton County and Anderson Township residents. This board offers its full support and well wishes as Commissioner Portune enters what he has called his biggest fight of his life. And with that, I would like to make a motion of resolution of appreciation for Hamilton County Commissioner Todd B. Portune.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes, and although he's not here, I think we could probably give him a round of
I
applause.
agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Girth, I did contact Commissioner Portune's office, extended an invitation. His health prohibited from being with us today. His chief of staff was very appreciative to the board, and she will help us relay this resolution to Commissioner Portune.
Great, thank you, Vicki.
Thank you. And thank you for thinking of it. We appreciate that. Steve as well. And Steve, thank you.
Ken Dietz, you're up.
Thank you. Financial reports indicate, obviously, at this time of year, our revenues are way beyond expectations and predictions because we just got our second real estate tax settlement, but that will kind of level off toward the end of the year. But we're basically at 90% of our expected estimated revenues. But like I said, probably 90% of our anticipated revenues are because of real estate taxes. The expenditures are less than 50% after 7 months. And I think we've paid some bills that we probably knew were coming, but I would anticipate by the end of the year that we will be, as our usual, 5 or 10% below our expenditures, so. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken. Law Director, Margaret Cumming.
Good evening. You have in your packet a resolution accepting and approving an annual information filing for the township for the fiscal year 2018. Back in 2006 and 7, you did the original financing on this building, or the board did, and improvement standards and trails and various other capital improvement projects in the township. In 2014, the board refunded the outstanding balance on that indebtedness in order to save the township around $450,000, I believe, in interest costs. So that has worked out well for us. Those bonds will be fully paid on December 1 of 2020, which is amazing. And that was a 16-year financing for all these improvements. But when the 2014 bonds were issued, the township entered into a continuing disclosure agreement, which you're required to do under various regulations of the SEC, in essence. So this annual information filing is required to be filed with the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board each year, which you have done. And what it does is updates the information in the marketplace about Anderson Township and its financial situation, which is good, each year. It updates the public offering document that was in the market in 2014 when the refunding bonds were issued. So with the help of the fiscal office, thank you, Ken and Deb, we've been able to update that information.
Thank you.
With that, I move to adopt a resolution accepting and approving the annual information filing of the township for fiscal year 2018 and directing its filing with the MSRB for continuing disclosure purposes.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Thank you. There is another resolution in your packet this evening which relates to the authorization for the issuance and sale of a new issue of bonds in the amount not to exceed a maximum aggregate amount of $3.2 million. The reason that this bond resolution is before you this evening is because later on the agenda you'll be addressing the bids that you received in connection with the improvements that you're undertaking at the Recplex. In order for the township and Mr. Magna and Vicki to sign off on those construction contracts, and for Mr. Dietz to certify the availability of funds for the payment of the costs incurred under those contracts, we need to pass the bond resolution this evening, which permits that certification to occur. I will say this, though, this resolution sets out parameters, a maximum principal amount, a maximum interest rate, and it delegates the determination of the exact terms for the bonds to a pricing date, which will not occur until probably December. So we're expecting that the bonds would be authorized tonight. The offering would not occur until late November, early December, probably won't close until after the first of the year. But the reason for passing this tonight with these maxims in it is to permit the staff to move ahead with the construction contracts for the recplex improvements. And any questions, I'm happy to take.
Do you want to explain where the funding is coming from as far as the Stonecrest TIF for?
Sure. So the expectation is that the revenue stream that will be directed to the payment of debt service on these bonds, in other words, the means by which you'll pay back the cost of the improvements that are being financed, are the service payments in lieu of taxes, which is a fancy way of saying the payments made by the owner of, the new name is Anthology. We refer to this as the Stonecrest TIF that you all created some time ago in 2018. So when the value of the improvements made to that parcel first hit the tax duplicate, which Ken can give you that date, timeline, the amount of taxes that relate to the improvement value, in other words, the development that was constructed there, will flow back to the township, and you'll give a portion of those to the school district, but you will also be directing your portion and a small portion of the school district's payments towards the debt retirement. So it's expected to be a self-supporting issue of bonds.
No new taxes.
No
Right.
new taxes, that's right.
Such a
Thank you.
brief description. Thank you, Margaret. Your brevity is refreshing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. I move to adopt a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $3,200,000 for the purpose of paying the costs of acquiring and constructing certain improvements to the Beach Acres Recplex in the township, together with necessary appurtenances thereto, paying capitalized interest and paying financing costs with respect to the issuance of the bonds.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Kurth?
Yes.
I don't want to bet.
Thank you, Margaret. Planning and zoning, Paul Drury.
Ooh, pictures.
I got it.
Good evening. There's a resolution in your packet considering property at 7703 Arlington Avenue. The request is to determine the existence of nuisance on this property pursuant to ORC Section 505.87. This is for the removal of tall grass.
That's some weeds.
Those are some weeds. That is
That was
correct.
almost a month ago.
Yeah.
This is
No,
the-
I don't know if they died yet or not from the lack of rain.
I move to adopt a resolution determining existence of nuisance on land owned by Michelle D. Moreno, located at 7703 Arlington Avenue in Anderson Township, and providing for notice and remediation pursuant to ORC Section
505.87.
Second,
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
yes.
Mr. Kurth?
Yes.
Now, the second item in your packet under our department is a resolution for your consideration for the removal of the structure at 1579 Collinsdale Avenue. This is pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 505.86. If you'll recall at your meeting last month on August the 15th, this was under consideration. You did declare the property a nuisance. We did notify the property owner and allowed for the request for a public hearing on this issue, and no public hearing was requested. So therefore, a resolution is before you ordering for the removal of this structure.
I move to adopt a resolution ordering the removal of unsafe structure on land owned by Alyssa Buchanan and locating at 1579 Collinsdale Avenue, Anderson Township, Ohio, 45230, pursuant to Section 505.86 of the revised code.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Scarf?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Paul. Lieutenant Dan McElroy.
You like these? You can do this one. Sure. Yeah, you like it.
Where is it?
Welcome.
Theater, transfer
Huh?
ownership.
Again?
No, just the original one expired.
We have a liquor license request for American Multi-Cinema, Inc., AMC, located at 7490 Beachmont Avenue. We can find no reason to object to this renewal request.
I move to adopt a resolution not to object to a liquor license transfer request for American Multi-Cinema, Inc. and
Patio.
Patio, okay,
Thank you.
located at 7490 Beachmont Avenue.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes.
Stone? Mr. Scarf?
Yes.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
I could read that word. That's not what it
I
said.
know, but that's
Thanks,
why
Dan.
I let you do it. That's kind of why I let you.
Public Works,
I was
Eric Lingenbuehl.
I was like, she's gonna see patio.
Good evening. As the board is aware, for the past several years, the township has been purchasing road salt off the Hamilton County purchasing contract. Anderson Township, along with other communities in Hamilton County, gained a bidding advantage by buying salt using an economy of scale method to purchase larger amounts. This year, through a collaborative effort through Hamilton County and partner jurisdictions, we received a bid from Cargill at a rate of $89.66 per ton. Last winter, we paid Cargill a rate of $78.46 per ton.
Big increase.
In a normal year, we purchased about 3,500 tons of salt to get through the winter. So as we head into the 2019 season, I would recommend we award Cargill Incorporated, who had the lowest and best bid price of $89.66 per ton. And that's before you tonight for your consideration.
Well, like he said, though, that is a big, is
I mean,
that,
it's $12.
is that
That is.
typical?
And the year before that, it was 51 a
Oh, so
ton.
it is, okay.
So I
went
need
up
to buy
almost.
salt.
Yeah,
and
buy
poured
stock and salt, is
Yeah,
that
so
the,
in the past 3 years, it's jumped way up.
okay.
I was hoping that would drop back down to a normal
Just
price, but
hadn't
it didn't.
happened. I move to authorize the township administrator to enter into a contract with Cargill Incorporated for the purchase of road de-icing salts under the Hamilton County contract for the 2019 winter season at a rate of $89.66 per ton delivered.
Second,
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
yes.
Mr. Scarf?
Yes.
How much do we have left over from last year? None?
I think we went through,
None stored in
put-
there?
there's about 2,000 ton in the dome. We put 3,500 ton on order. And I think last year we used almost 1,700 ton. But that was a fairly easy winter.
That was a
Yeah.
light winter.
So
Last year was easy.
on an average, we bounce around 1,700 to 2,500. Then we get into a bad one, we might use all of it.
What's the bad one?
It's been a while, but that's a
Been a
good
while.
thing. That's a good thing.
Okay, but our streets are done quickly.
You can see
Thanks,
the
Eric.
line where
Yes, you can see the line.
Chief Martin, Fire and Rescue.
we're not buying anything, are we?
That's gone up like.
Good evening. Really, the only thing I have tonight is to remind everybody, anybody that might be listening or watching, about our Emergency Services Day of this year. It's on Saturday, October 5th, which, believe it or not, is just 2 weeks from this coming Saturday. It's at our Station 6. The address there is 7954 Beachmont. That's between the Firestone and Forest Hills main building on Beachmont, just across from Witt Road. The hours of the safety service today is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And this is essentially a teaming up between the fire department and the sheriff's office, just giving the public a chance to view our equipment. I know this year so far from the sheriff's office, we're looking to probably have a crime scene unit, the bomb unit, a canine unit, the bike patrol, and then usually some individuals from the sheriff's citizen patrol come and help out too. From the fire department, we'll have a ladder truck there. We have one of our fire engines, our medic unit, our rescue boat. So it's a good opportunity for children and adults last year to climb up in the cabs, get some pictures. We have fire gear that's clean, that doesn't have the inside on it, that kids can try on. They can put on a helmet, get some pictures. We have a fire safety house, which we get usually from Union Township. That's a good prop for the kids because we use theatrical smoke, and the kids learn to climb, low below the smoke. They learn to know what a fire detector or a smoke detector sound is, where to go, know about getting 2 ways out. We help them crawl out a window and things like that. We also have fire safety materials. The kids love the plastic hats, you know, we give them pictures and stickers. And we give, well, we'll have one for you. I'll set one aside. But we also have materials for the adults too, you know, about changing their smoke detector. We're coming up on the fallback time for the clock change. We want to remind everybody that's the time to change their batteries and their smoke detectors. So we'll have a lot of PR stuff out there about just life safety in general. And last but not least, I'll be cooking some hot dogs at the grill. I think that's what I've been relinquished to this year. So we'll have snacks and cookies and things like that for anybody that attends. We're just hoping for good weather and a big turnout. That's all I have.
And again, that's October 5th.
October 5th, 2 weeks from this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay,
Hope to see everybody there.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
thank you.
Township Administration, Vicki.
Yes, Mr. Severs has the first two items.
Good evening. Each year, the Ohio Public Works Commission provides an opportunity to apply for funding through their state capital improvement program or their local transportation improvement program. We have two applications that we'd like to work with submitting this year. The first of which is the resubmittal of a grant or loan application for the Commonwealth Park subdivision. These are the streets in the State and Nagle area, Stonehouse, Blackthorn, and Heatherglen, that based on our last ranking were in, I think, very poor condition. We're actually looking, last year we applied for all loan funding. We feel that the ranking would put us in a good position to apply for some grant money as well. So the resolution shows an all loan, but I think we're going to be modifying that. These are due tomorrow at the end of the day, so we'll get this into the county if the board's supportive of that application.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing an application for grant or loan to fund improvements to roadways in the Commonwealth Park subdivision.
Second,
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll keep you posted. We'll know more by the end of the year on that project. The second application is one we are seeking to submit in conjunction with the Hamilton County Engineers Office. This would be for improvements to Asbury Road from Ayers Road south to US 52. The proposal entails a combination of grant monies through the application, also contribution by the township and Hamilton County. The matching funds that we are suggesting for the township would come from the Ohio Riverfront TIF, would service that area, lower part of the township. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those. But again, this would be primarily the hill area on Asbury Road, which is in desperate need of attention. So.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing an agreement with the Hamilton County Engineers Office.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you. Turn it back over to Ms. Earhart.
Yes, I'm presenting the next item on behalf of Ms. Parker, who could not be here this evening. We have found we use a lot of part-time building attendants. They are here. They not only set up rooms for official township meetings, but they are instrumental in helping set up for various rentals at all of our facilities, Anderson Center, the Senior Center, Heritage Center. And we have found that the employment pool is drying up a little bit, and our rates have not been adjusted for quite some time. So we are asking that the board consider adjusting the rates for our part-time building attendants, those that we would be looking to hire, and those that are already on staff, according to the motion before you.
Yeah, and this is just for the residents to realize this is just because of the red-hot economy that's out there, and it's so difficult to find people. Anyone with a business is suffering through the lack of employees out there. So with that, I move to authorize a $2 per hour increase of the pay rate of all current and newly hired part-time building attendants effective September 29th, 2019.
Second,
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Next, I'd like to ask Mr. Magna to come forward. He has been leading the Recplex renovation project. He's in charge of all of our facilities, as the board knows, and has taken on this additional project this year. So he has some information to present.
Good evening. On the 10th of September, we opened bids for the alterations to Recplex project. We received 9 bids. Staff reviewed bids to determine that Perkins Carmack Construction LLC was the best and lowest bidder. The motion before you, resolution before you, acts on that recommendation to award to them. I can answer any questions.
Pretty tight bids, I mean, for the most part.
Very tight bids, a very good representation of 9 bidders. for the project, which is outstanding.
I move to adopt a resolution that this board hereby accepts the bid of $1,930,000 from Perkins Carmack Construction LLC, deemed to be the most responsive and responsible bidder for the alteration to Anderson Park Recplex project in accordance with the bid plans and specifications, together with a 10% contingency for maximum appropriation of $2,123,000 in TIF funds. Further, the board hereby authorizes and directs the township administrator to give timely notice of award to the contractor, and after consultation with the law director, to enter into contract with Perkins Carmack Construction LLC in accordance with their bid for the alterations to Anderson Park Recplex project.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Point out that that was, what, about 500 grand below the estimate that you were
Yes.
predicting? So that's good.
During the board's interim workshop meeting, Jennifer Sanders, our events coordinator, presented proposed facility rental rates for township facilities. These rates have not been adjusted for quite some time. And we are also returning to the original premise of this facility when it opened in 2008, where the board was able to construct this facility with no new taxes, use tax increment financing, and as Ms. Comey mentioned, those bonds will be paid off next year. But the board also recognized that this facility belonged to township residents and wanted to draw a clear distinction between the resident rate and the non-resident rate for the various rooms. We do rent the Heritage Center as well. Years ago, the Anderson Park District used to manage that for us, but we took back ownership of that or management of that probably, 8, 9 years ago. And so we would ask that the board bless the rate structure before you to be effective in 2020.
Bless it? Wants to bless it? It's a religious ceremony?
If you would approve it, please. In whatever form you choose.
Well, with that, I don't know about the blessing part, but I move to establish Anderson Township venue prices as presented effective January 1st, 2020.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. Good
Thank
work on that, guys.
And good luck, because now you have a firm, chart to go by, and the rentals are doing very well, I understand, and everyone's very interested, and things are going well. So, thanks to you.
Speaking of resident rates, the next thing we have is setting the membership rates for the Anderson Township Senior Center. For the public's knowledge, the township took over management and operation of the senior center back in 2016 when the former entity that we contracted with walked away from that. So we have formed a senior center advisory committee. Mr. Magnus sits on that committee as staff, and Ms. Stone sits on that committee as well. But we've talked to them, we've looked for guidance as far as the membership rates moving forward for next year. The committee recommended that the rates remain the same as they were for this year, that we not experience any kind of increase. They're going to take some time to study the rates over the coming year and make a recommendation. But staff also felt it important, again, to recognize the fact that our residents do contribute through their property taxes. So staff are recommending the rate structure before you, which would lower the rate for resident membership and retain the rate for non-resident members.
I move to set the Anderson Township Senior Center membership rate for Anderson Township residents at $15 per single or $25 per couple, and the non-resident rate at $40 per single or $65 per couple, effective January 1st, 2020.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
And just, on that, the Anderson Senior Center Advisory Committee met this afternoon, and we are doing an open house of that facility on November 2nd, Saturday, November 2nd, from 10 to 1 p.m., and there's going to be activities and a little bit of food, and so it's going to be a nice event. So if anybody's never been inside there, our residents who attend regularly love it, and they go on some great trips. Last night, they went to the FC Cincinnati game, and they get out and about. So it's a good place to be a member.
Thank
If
you.
you're of age.
The last item that we have for the board, as you'll recall, at the board's annual planning meeting, Ms. Cowan and I presented information about how we wanted to review our cybersecurity structure, what we have in place to protect data, and to also look at setting a policy in place for staff to follow. The board was very supportive of this, understood that there would be some time and costs involved, but the board explained that they were very concerned about protecting the privacy of our residents. While we are a public entity and the vast majority of the documents we have are public record, we do have medical records, obviously, through Fire and Rescue Department. We do have other personal protected information. When we do facility rentals, we have credit card numbers, those types of things. So Ms. Cowan and I have worked with ROI, our computer consultants, and since May, and we have verified that we do have the infrastructure, the IT infrastructure in place to protect our data, to protect the residents' information, to be back up and running should there ever be any kind of breach. And we have also developed a policy that is before the board for consideration that, if adopted, would be shared with each and every employee, everyone who accesses our data, and they would be required to sign that. And it would give us the opportunity to also hold employees accountable if there are situations, and it can be anything from minor breaches to something more major, but it gives us the ability to use this as a teaching tool and to also hold accountable folks. So I would ask that the board approve this resolution.
I move to adopt a resolution approving the Anderson Township cybersecurity policy.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all we have this evening.
Thank you, Vicki. The next regular monthly board meeting in this room will be October 17th at 6 p.m. If anyone has any questions, they can reach out to Andrew Pappas on Facebook. And
Speaking
Ask
of
him.
cybersecurity, right?
with that, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for coming.
Vicki, do you want this one?